Claressa, so great to see you here in the UK. How are you finding it so far? And what can we expect from you this weekend?
I'm finding it very, very fun over here in Cardiff. It's been fun, and the fans have been crazy as I expected, and they've embraced me very, very well. So I'm happy about that. I'm just excited to fight on Saturday. You said what? You said what can you expect? You can expect fireworks from me. You never see a boring fight with me. I always go in there and throw some hard shots and let my combinations go. But I'm just gonna add that calmness and that flavor and just be very, very strategic for these fights. I know Emma is gonna come and try to make it ugly.
You're a woman in demand. Why have you decided to come to the UK?
Because I'm in demand here. That's why I'm here. You said it. I'm a woman in demand. I had plenty of opportunities in the U.S. to fight, but we wanted to come here because, one, just to fight in front of the UK fans means that you have, come to a different level in your career. And then to know that I can fight on talkSPORT and then, have a potential fight with Savannah Marshall, who is also getting a name here, that it can, skyrocket my career, and I can have more opportunities to do more things in women's boxing.
When it comes to this fight this weekend, your opponent, she's got a really good record. She's very experienced when it comes to professional ranks, but imagine you want to show that there's levels between you this weekend.
I'm ranked number 1 at 160. So when you talk about experience, you got to talk a different language. Like, she got more fights, but I definitely don't think that she has more experience than me, because I have 15 to 16 years in boxing. And now I've been pro 5 years, but I haven't had, like the padded record where I fight against girls with losing records. Like, I fought against nothing but world champions and girls who are undefeated. So that's the difference. When you fight against those kind of fighters compared to her being 21-0 with 11 knockouts, she hasn't fought against the kind of opposition that I've had to beat. And when she can beat that kind of opposition, then you can talk about experience and if she's on my level or not. But right now, she's just another undefeated fighter who's in my way of becoming undisputed champion, taking out Savannah Marshall.
You mentioned Savannah Marshall. What level is she at compared to where you are, do you think?
Not on my level. I'm a 12-time world champ, three different divisions, 2-time undisputed at 154 and 160. She just fought for my banking title that I was forced to vacate because I wanted to make history at 154. If she was really a champion, what she could have did was wait till I got done beating up Marie-Eve DeCare, because I was coming back up to 160, and she could have been fought me for all my belts, but she wanted to cry about it and make the WBO say, hey, we have to vacate it, or, we won't let you fight for the 154 undisputed. So I vacated it for the history, but I mean, she snatched it up so quick, but she didn't beat the champ for the belt. She beat Henry Rankin, who wasn't the champ, who was my great friend, but she wasn't the champ for the belt. I was, but I'd rather fight for an undisputed championship any day than just fight for one belt.
How close are we to seeing that fight? Is it simply a case of you get through this fight this weekend, she gets through her fight in March, and we have a huge one in the summer?
That's exactly what it should be. I'm going to win Saturday, she wins in March, and then we fight.
It's a difficult question, but how big would that fight be compared to the one we've just seen announced between Taylor and Serrano?
I mean, Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor are they're a different level than Savannah Marshall. Like, they're very highly accomplished. Savannah Marshall just got a title. She fights her opponents last, 3 days. People get 3 days notice, they get a week's notice, girls with losing records. So I don't think that she's comparable to Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor and myself. But she holds the win over me in the amateur, so I guess that means something to people. So I look forward to us fighting, but I'll be able to show everybody that it's really levels to this. And for me to be on top for 4 to 5 years in the professional ranks and to be doing what I'm doing, it's going to take a lot for anybody to come and to beat me.
And is boxing the pure focus for you now, or do you think you might dabble back into MMA in the next few years?
I've been doing boxing and MMA at the same time. I just became undisputed in March, and then I fought my MMA debut, I believe, in
November, your last fight, or October or November?
June was my first fight in MMA, right? Yeah, so I fought in June in MMA, and I won by 3rd round KO, and then I fought again in October and got a split decision and lost, but now I'm back boxing, so I've always done both. I don't know why people think I've only just been dabbling. Like, I want to be PFL world champion in MMA in 2023, same time as being boxing champion. So I'm going to continue to do both because I'm just that great and I can.
And one last question, how is your relationship with Jake Paul now? There's been a few words said in the past, but he has now set up this huge fight between Taylor and Serrano.
Congrats to him for doing that, but he ain't apologized to me. He called me a loser, and he tuned into my MMA fight where I was new in the sport at, tune into my boxing fights and then, say all the things that you said. But for him to try to diminish me by, me having a split decision loss, it's like that was very low class of him. And that's where, the beef kind of started. It shouldn't have been a beef by me saying that I wasn't going to fight on the undercard of him. I'm more accomplished than him in boxing. Even though I'm a woman, I'm more accomplished than him as far as in Olympics, world championships, professional titles, history. So I shouldn't have to fight on the undercard of a Jake Paul. So that shouldn't have been something to start beef. But for him to, be that mad that I won't fight on the undercard of him and then tune into my MMA fight, not the first one where I won by third round KO, but the second one, and then think he can say things like, oh, she's a loser and she's not the GOAT, blah, 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 blah. It's like, one, you can't praise Amanda Serrano without praising me. I have just as many accomplishments as she does. But it was like he came at me and started saying all this stupid stuff and not even speaking about boxing. So the beef can be squashed, and he's talking about he want to work together and all that kind of stuff. He got to apologize first. That's it. He can apologize or he can spar. It's really up to him. But either or, I just don't like the disrespect, and I'm not somebody who's going to settle for it just because he's in the media talking about what he's doing for women's boxing. Hey, appreciate you. You're doing a great job for Amanda Serrano and making the fight happen with Katie, but that still don't have nothing to do with Claressa Shields. You disrespecting me, so when you disrespect somebody, what do? We're grown. What do you do when you disrespect somebody and you know it? You apologize. You make it right.
What happens if you do spar him?
I beat him up. I got way better skills than Jake Paul. He's a man, right? That's what men. But I spar against men all the time, so it's not a problem. I'll give him 6 to 8 rounds, and I'll show him that I'm far from a loser. He's gonna feel like the loser after we spar.